feeling as though you've been placed on hold, perhaps even forgotten, in the grand narrative of love can weigh heavily on the heart. It's a season many navigate, marked by quiet yearning, unanswered questions, and sometimes a deep ache of loneliness. You might look around and see others stepping into relationships, their timelines seemingly aligning effortlessly, while yours appears paused, still, or perhaps frustratingly slow. In these moments, it is easy for doubt to creep in, whispering unsettling questions. Am I being overlooked? Is something wrong with me? Has God forgotten my desire? Yet, for the believer, the landscape of waiting is profoundly different from what the world might perceive. When God asks you to wait, it is never from a place of oversight, punishment, or denial. It is always from a place of profound love, intricate purpose, and divine protection. What feels like a delay is, in the spiritual realm, often a powerful shielding, a careful preparation, and a deliberate orchestration of events far beyond your current sight. You are not being sidelined, you are being safeguarded, molded, and positioned. The waiting season, though often challenging to navigate emotionally, is one of the most active periods of God's work in your life, especially concerning your future relationships. Many are tempted to rush this process. The fear of being left behind, the societal pressure to pair up, or simply the deep human longing for connection can propel individuals into relationships that are premature or ultimately unsuitable. But God operates outside of our anxious timelines. His work is driven by purpose, not by panic. Every moment within your waiting season is being actively utilized by Him to refine you, to teach you, to heal you, and to align circumstances for your highest good and His glory. What looks like stalled progress from your perspective is, in His, a necessary period of deep, foundational work both within you and in the unseen details of your future path. It's difficult, perhaps, to embrace this truth when the waiting feels long and the silence feels loud. But God's delay is not a reflection of His indifference. It is often an expression of His immense mercy and wisdom. In this space of delay, He is clearing away potential obstacles, cultivating essential virtues like patience and trust within you, and preventing you from settling for relationships that would ultimately detract from your purpose and peace. This waiting is not a passive state of merely enduring time. It is an active, dynamic period filled with hidden lessons, quiet revelations, and layers of protection you may only fully comprehend much later. God sees the entire picture, the beginning from the end. While you are waiting, He is working tirelessly on your behalf. What you perceive as merely a delay is, in truth, a shield fashioned by divine love. What feels like silence is often God's precise, gentle hand carefully arranging circumstances to bring forth something truly beautiful and undeniably worth the wait. There are profound, specific reasons why God often asks us to wait, especially in matters of the heart. These aren't arbitrary pauses, they are strategic divine interventions designed to protect, prepare, and perfect. Let us explore 7 powerful ways God uses this waiting season, revealing that you are not forgotten, but rather deeply cherished and guarded for a love that aligns with His perfect will. First, God shields you from heartbreak you are not yet equipped to handle. The scriptures remind us in Psalm 34:118 that the Lord is near to those who have a broken heart, and saves such as have a contrite spirit. This beautiful verse speaks to God's intimate awareness of our pain, but it also subtly points to His proactive protection. Sometimes your heart, in its deep desire for connection, may be drawn to something that your spirit, your emotional resilience, or your current spiritual maturity is not yet strong enough to endure without significant damage. God, in His infinite knowledge, sees every hidden detail of potential future relationships, the complexities, the challenges, the potential for deep emotional wounding. He knows precisely what kind of relational dynamic could leave your soul shattered, disconnected from your identity in Christ, or derail the path He has set for you. You might feel ready, believing you can handle anything, but God's perspective is eternal and all-knowing. He knows the weight of a certain kind of heartbreak, the kind that doesn't just sting but leaves lasting scars, making it difficult to trust or love again. By guiding you into a season of waiting, He is gently, lovingly protecting you from walking headfirst into that pain. You may look at friends or peers whose relationships seem to blossom effortlessly and wonder why your journey is marked by this pause. But their path is not your protection. God understands the unique vulnerabilities of your heart and spirit. He knows how one wrong, deeply impactful attachment could leave you reeling for years. Instead of allowing you to step into a relationship that would ultimately break you down rather than build you up, He holds you back. This isn't a cruel withholding. It is tender safety. It is the Father's hand preventing His child from running into danger they cannot perceive. Even when your emotions scream ready, God sees the deeper truth. He shields you from the burden of a heartbreak from which recovery would be long and arduous. He provides this waiting time to grant you the space, strength, and wisdom needed to grow into a person better equipped to navigate the complexities of a serious relationship. What feels like a frustrating delay is often divine protection wrapped around your most vulnerable places. You are not forgotten in this waiting, you are being saved. God does not stand aloof from your brokenness. He stands near, and He waits with you, strengthening your heart until it is truly ready to love and be loved without being destroyed by the process. Trusting His not yet is trusting that He is holding back what would have wounded you far too deeply, preserving you for a love that nurtures, not one that injures. Secondly, God uses the waiting season to clear out distractions that are blocking your view. The Apostle Paul urges us in Hebrews 12:1 to lay aside every weight, and the sin which doth so easily ensnare us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. This principle applies powerfully to our relational lives. Often, our judgment is clouded by various weights and sins, be it past relational baggage, unhealthy emotional attachments, societal pressures, or simply being involved in situations or with people who divert our focus from what truly matters, especially our relationship with God and His purpose for us. These distractions can be so consuming that they prevent us from clearly seeing ourselves, let alone discerning who might be a godly, aligned partner. When your mind and heart are cluttered with the noise of incompatible connections, or the residue of past hurts, it becomes incredibly difficult to recognize the right person when they appear. You might confuse fleeting chemistry with lasting purpose, or mistake surface-level compatibility for deep spiritual alignment. This can lead to wasted time and emotional energy invested in people who were never meant to be permanent fixtures in your life, but merely transient figures. God, in His wisdom, uses the waiting season as a period of purification, a divine clearing of the clutter. He removes these distractions one by one, even when the process is uncomfortable or painful. It might involve the fading away of certain friendships, the realization that a casual connection isn't healthy, or the conviction to step away from activities that consume too much time or energy without yielding spiritual fruit. He is clearing your internal and external space, improving your spiritual and emotional vision, so that you can see the right person with clarity when they finally enter your life. The wait is not just a passive pause, It is an active purge. God is diligently working to remove whatever blinds you spiritually, emotionally, and mentally to His will and direction for your relationships. As your heart becomes less crowded with temporary attachments, unhealthy mindsets, or lingering regrets, it becomes more open and sensitive to receive what God has truly prepared for you. He is not taking things away to diminish your life, but to make room for something real, significant, and lasting. This process requires surrender and discipline, surrendering your attachments, disciplining your focus, but God is teaching you how to walk in the clarity of His light. When your eyes are clear and your heart is quieted by His presence, you will be much better positioned to recognize the person who truly fits the calling on your life. That is why the delay is never wasted. It is the sacred space where distractions lose their power and divine clarity emerges. Third, God allows time to heal your past hurts before you step into something new. Jeremiah 30:7 offers a promise of restoration. For I will restore health unto you, and I will heal you of your wounds, saith the Lord. This promise is profoundly relevant to the waiting season for love. It is entirely possible that you are waiting not because love is being withheld from you, but because you are in need of deep, comprehensive healing before a healthy, God-honoring relationship can truly flourish. God knows that entering a new connection, carrying the weight of old wounds, whether from past romantic relationships, family dynamics, or other sources of pain, will often lead to the repetition of those same painful patterns. Unhealed wounds fester. They inform our perceptions, trigger defensive behaviors, and can prevent us from giving and receiving love fully and purely. God's priority is your wholeness, and that often requires a season dedicated to healing before the demands and vulnerabilities of a new relationship are introduced. There are places within your heart that still carry the scars and tenderness from those who did not love you well, who disappointed you, or who caused you pain. Instead of rushing you into the complexities of a new dynamic, God invites you to sit with Him in the process of restoration. He is the ultimate healer. He teaches you how to process the past, how to release bitterness and unforgiveness, how to rebuild trust in healthy ways, and how to love again from a place of security, not fear or desperation. He is actively engaged in rebuilding the parts of you that have been damaged, parts that no human touch can fully reach or mend. This healing journey is rarely linear and often doesn't feel like outward progress in the context of dating, but it is the essential foundation upon which a truly healthy and resilient future relationship can be built. If you bypass this healing process, you risk carrying baggage such as suspicion, fear of vulnerability, unhealthy expectations, or an inability to communicate effectively into your next relationship. These can sabotage even the most promising connections. God protects the integrity of your future love life by ensuring the damage from the past is addressed. His delay is not a form of rejection, it is a profound act of restoration. He is not ignoring your heartfelt desire for companionship, He is simply prioritizing the preparation of your heart so that you can enter into love and be loved in a way that is healthy, secure, and God-centered. When the timing is right, you will be able to walk into a new relationship with peace instead of carrying the pain of the past, with wholeness instead of fragmentation, and with an open heart instead of one guarded by fear. Trust Him to complete the necessary healing work within you before He reveals the person He has prepared for you. Fourth, God grows your discernment to recognize the right person. Proverbs 2:11 tells us, "Discretion will preserve you. Understanding will keep you." When God asks you to wait, He is actively sharpening your spiritual and emotional discernment, This isn't about becoming cynical or overly critical, it's about developing the God-given ability to recognize the difference between someone who is genuinely sent by Him, someone whose character, values, and walk with God align with yours, and someone who may simply appear appealing on the surface, but lacks the substance required for a lasting, godly partnership. Discernment is a vital form of spiritual protection in relationships. This waiting period provides the time and space necessary for you to mature beyond being swayed solely by charm, superficial chemistry, or sweet words. You begin to learn how to value deep character, spiritual alignment, and consistent behavior over fleeting attraction or impressive, but empty gestures. Without developed discernment, it is easy to fall into the trap of choosing partners based primarily on emotional appeal or external factors, rather than seeking God's confirmation and recognizing the quiet nudges of the Holy Spirit. God orchestrates delays to provide you with the time needed to strengthen your inner knowing, that subtle wisdom that comes from spending time with Him and observing life through His lens. Over time, He teaches you how to ask the right questions, how to pay attention to inconsistencies, how to notice red flags, not as minor inconveniences, but as significant warnings, and crucially, how to stop ignoring the intuitive guidance or uneasy feelings you receive. You learn to trust what God reveals about a person and a situation more than what others present or what you desperately want to believe. God cultivates discernment through life experiences, through intentional time spent in prayer and studying His Word, and through the process of emotional and spiritual maturity that often takes time in a season of singleness. This is precisely why the waiting season is necessary. It is where your spiritual eyes are trained to see beyond superficial charm and potential, protecting your heart from being easily deceived by someone who is not meant to be a permanent, healthy part of your life. In the future, your search for love will evolve. You won't just be looking for someone who makes you feel good. You'll be seeking God's clear confirmation, a sense of peace and alignment that transcends mere emotion. And when you meet the right person, you will have the discernment to recognize them, not just because your emotions are stirred, but because your spirit resonates and agrees with the connection. That is the invaluable power of discernment, and it is why God will not rush this crucial season of development. Fifth, God guards you from entering into a one-sided relationship. The question posed in Amos 3:3 is simple yet profound. Can two walk together, except they be agreed? There is a deep lack of peace, and often profound exhaustion, in any relationship where the effort, commitment, and emotional investment are significantly imbalanced, with only one person truly striving to make it work. God sees the depth of your heart and your capacity to love and give generously. But He also knows the pain, weariness, and erosion of self-worth that comes from pouring yourself into a relationship where your love is not reciprocated with equal measure, effort, and commitment. In His protective care, He shields you from this specific heartache by asking you to wait for someone who is just as ready, willing, and capable of meeting you where you are and walking alongside you with mutual investment. If God were to allow you to step into a relationship characterized by this kind of imbalance, you would find yourself constantly giving, compromising, and initiating, while rarely receiving the same level of care, attention, or effort in return. You would gradually lose sight of yourself, exhausting your emotional and spiritual resources trying to hold together something that requires the active participation of two wholehearted individuals. God understands how draining and disheartening this experience is. He knows that a one-sided dynamic can lead to constant feelings of inadequacy, confusion, and the painful belief that you are not worthy of being chosen and pursued fully. He never intended for you to beg for affection, constantly seek reassurance, or chase someone who is not actively walking towards you with intention and commitment. He protects your emotional health, your sense of value, and your peace by withholding you from situations where you would be expected to carry the weight of the relationship alone. Even when your heart, driven by desire or fear of loneliness, might say yes to an available option, God may say no to save you from the long-term pain and struggle of a mismatched connection. The delay you experience is not because love is being withheld entirely, but because God is preparing you for, and preserving you for, someone who will meet you with mutual love, respect, and dedication. You are not being denied the experience of love, you are being prepared for the experience of mutual, healthy, reciprocal love, where both partners contribute equally and choose each other consistently, supporting and walking the path of faith together. Sixth, God separates you from people who are not assigned to your life's journey. The principle of being equally yoked, mentioned in 2 Corinthians 60:14, do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship has righteousness with lawlessness? And what communion has light with darkness? Extends beyond just faith differences to fundamental misalignments in character, values, purpose, and life direction. Some individuals, even if they felt right for a season, are simply not meant to be permanently connected to your life path. They were perhaps meant to be temporary companions, teachers, or detours, but not the person you are meant to walk with long-term towards God's ultimate purpose for you. God, with His complete view of your past, present, and future, sees when a relationship, no matter how comfortable or familiar, would ultimately pull you away from His intended path, hinder your spiritual growth, or create discord where there should be harmony. When He guides you into a season of waiting, it is often accompanied by a process of separation, gently, or sometimes abruptly, removing relationships that are not in divine alignment. This separation, though painful, is not a loss. It is a crucial form of divine protection and redirection. It can be challenging to let go of people you care about, especially when there's a shared history, strong feelings, or a sense of comfort. But God sees what you cannot. He knows if someone's core character, fundamental beliefs, life goals, or spiritual trajectory are fundamentally incompatible with yours for the long haul. He is not trying to disrupt your life for arbitrary reasons. He is striving to keep your life in agreement with His perfect will and purpose for you. Trying to force or hold on to a relationship with someone who is not assigned to walk with you into your future season will only cause increasing friction, struggle, and delay the peace and clarity you are meant to experience. God does not want you tied to someone who actively or passively resists your growth, undermines your faith, or pulls you away from the community and calling He has for you. He strategically allows distance or brings about endings to create space for relationships built on true alignment, spiritual, emotional, and purposeful. The waiting season is often the time when God performs this necessary, though sometimes painful, work of separating you from those who are not meant to go with you into the next chapter of your life. He doesn't take them away to cause you needless pain. He does it so that you are free, available, and positioned to walk alongside someone who is truly assigned to you, aligned with your purpose, and faithful in their walk with God. Seventh and finally, God helps you recognize red flags with clear eyes. The Apostle John wisely advises in 1 John 4:1, "Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. While this verse primarily speaks to spiritual discernment concerning teachings, the principle of testing and discerning applies powerfully to relationships as well. God allows you to spend time in a season of waiting because He wants to train your eyes to spot warning signs, red flags, early and accurately. Before, perhaps influenced by emotion, desperation, or simply wanting to see the best in everyone, you might have overlooked, rationalized, or minimized these signs. But now, through the quiet, reflective space of the wait, your vision is being refined. God is giving you wisdom, not just to passively observe, but to actively test and discern what is truly in front of you, rather than projecting what you wish or hope to see onto a person. When you intentionally wait with God, seeking His perspective and guidance, He bestows upon you a clarity that cuts through illusion. You become less susceptible to being fooled by mere potential or captivating charm. You begin to notice inconsistencies between words and actions. Subtle behaviors that used to confuse you now stand out as significant indicators, and you stop ignoring the intuitive sense of unease that your spirit may be giving you. This newfound clarity is a precious gift from God, specifically designed to protect your future from unnecessary heartache, pain, and complications. The longer you commit to waiting with God in this season, seeking His face, aligning with His word, allowing Him to prune and refine you, the stronger your discernment becomes. You learn to evaluate a person based on the consistent pattern of their actions and character, not just the appeal of their promises or words. You begin to understand experientially that real, trustworthy love is demonstrated through reliability, integrity, and sustained effort, not just through grand gestures or fleeting moments. God actively opens your eyes to see people and situations as He sees them, penetrating beyond the surface to the heart and intentions, rather than being solely guided by your emotions or desires. This enhanced vision is a protection that will serve you not only in choosing a partner, but throughout your life. You will gain the wisdom and courage to peacefully walk away from relationships that are fundamentally wrong or unhealthy, and to wait with quiet confidence and expectation for the person whom God clearly approves and aligns with your life. The wait is anything but wasted. It is the essential space where your spiritual vision becomes clear, your emotional resilience is strengthened, and your ability to discern true, godly connection is perfected. The season of waiting for love, therefore, is not a punishment or a sign of being forgotten. It is a sacred, purposeful time orchestrated by a loving Father who knows the desires of your heart better than you do, and who is working tirelessly behind the scenes for your ultimate good. It is a season of divine protection, shielding you from heartbreaks you cannot yet bear, clearing out distractions that cloud your judgment, healing past wounds that could sabotage future joy, cultivating the discernment needed to choose wisely, guarding you from the pain of one-sided love, separating you from relationships that are not aligned with your destiny, and training your eyes to see clearly the true nature of those you encounter. Embracing this perspective requires faith to believe that God is actively working, even when you see no outward progress, faith to trust His timing even when it feels slow, and faith to surrender your own plans and desires to His perfect will. The wait is hard, undeniably so. There will be moments of loneliness, doubt, and perhaps even tears. But in those moments, cling to the truth that God is near. He sees you, and He is using this time to prepare you for the relationship He has prepared butters for you. He is not keeping you from something good. He is preserving you for something as great and as godly. He is fashioning a love story for you that is built on a foundation of His wisdom, protected by His grace, and aligned with His divine purpose for your life. Keep trusting, keep growing, and keep your eyes fixed on Him. His timing is never late, and your wait is never wasted. Be encouraged, be strengthened, and know that you are being protected for a love that is real, lasting, and full of His peace.